Alright guys, today we're going to finish off the exhaust on this V8 Vantage. If you watch any of my other videos, we went ahead and installed the Velocity A.P equal length headers or manifolds, put the 200 cell cats in there, swapped the X pipe or the H pipe out with an X pipe, and then I left the stock V8 Vantage back box on. And then I pulled the Fuse 15 on this car, so it sounds really good, much higher pitched than the throatier V8 muscle car sound. You know, I've been really contemplating what to do with this back box. Keep it stock, upgrade it to either Velocity A.P GT4 straight pipe, which one of my friends has, and it sounds really mean, really loud. There's some Quicksilver back boxes out there, and then also Velocity makes a X pipe back box with some valving. So a lot of options out there. I try to look for a lot of sound clips, but ultimately I ended up settling on a stock V8 Vantage S back box. So if you watch any of the Bamford Rose videos, he claims that this is the best sounding muffler system on the market, better than any of the aftermarket. And because the back box really doesn't increase horsepower torque, you're really just chasing that tone, that note, that exhaust note. And a friend of mine who's coming over to help me, he actually has a Vantage S 2013, beautiful red Vantage S that you'll see later in the video. And I heard it on his car, and his is fully stock, and I was just absolutely blown away by it. So these are hard to find used on the market because there's not that many Vantage S's on the market, and GTs or N430s. And then the ones who do have it, they don't really modify them. So I was really lucky to find one of these used. The serial number is BG33. I don't know if I can zoom in on here for that. Let's see. BG33 5230-AB. And then on mine, when I pull it, it's going to be starting with a 6G. But I can't wait to see how this sounds, and let's go ahead and get started. Alright, this is my buddy's 2013 V8 Vantage S. Beautiful red. What is this, Toro red?
Volcano red.
Volcano red. And he's going to do a cold start up stock so that we can hear what the S back box sounds like. Started. First thing I'm going to do is take the wheels off, and then I believe we got to get the rear liners off, and then the rear under tray skid plate. So watch my other videos and it'll kind of show you some tips and tricks if you're using quick jacks to try to get some of the bolts out prior to lifting the car, because the way that skid plate lays is it interferes with where the jacking pad goes, which is annoying. But 21 mil for the 5 lugs, and then T30s and Phillips combination for the rear liners, and then a 13 millimeter for the rear skid plate under tray. So let's get to it. Okay, so I think the path forward to get this muffler out is we're going to take this cross frame out, which are these 2 bolts and 2 on the other side. There's my X pipe, and I think we're going to have to loosen up the X pipe, which is, this is the connector pipe to the muffler. So I do know that the muffler slides forward, so once we take this cross member out, break that bolt loose and disconnect it from the X pipe, we can get this pipe out by sliding it forward. And then this connects to the flange, which I don't know if you can see back there. I don't know if there's a better way to see it, but there's a flange right here that connects it to the muffler. So that'll break loose, and then we're gonna have to go find some additional bolts to come break loose. So I think we can do this without removing the bumper. Let's give it a go. Okay, so plan B, we slid the muffler as far forward as I think we can, but it's getting caught up on the hangers. So these are the 2 bolts on the hangers that we're going to try. It looks like it is an 8mm, or I'm sorry, a 10mm. So 2 10mm that hold that hanger right there. And then if we go over here, that's kind of hard to see, but there's a hanger right there. And that's held in by, you can see above it, there's the 1 and the 2 down below. So those 2 as well. So 4 10mm, that should break the hangers loose, and then we should be able to push it forward a little bit more. Alright, so new plan. We're going to get the sway bar out of here, and then we're going to take the spring bolts out of the flange. These are 10, so 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, 10 here. The sway bar is then connected to the end link, which is right here, and this bolt looks much bigger, so we'll address that when we get there. Okay, so sway bar is out of the way. It just dropped in place, so here it is, and then it just drops down, hits the control arm, but it buys you enough room to get those flanges. Those are spring bolts, and they are 14, so 14mm on 2. That should be able to break it free, and then we should be able to push this rubber grommet, which is the hanger, push that forward, and then we should be able to get this guy out slowly. We'll see though. Okay, so we have progress. We removed the cross member, which was right here, and that was 16mm bolts. We broke the sway bar free. That was 10mm bolts. 4 of those. We didn't have to get the end links, which are right over here. It just pivots up and down, just like that, and it hits the control arm. But that's okay. That gives us enough to clear the flange here. We got the flange bolts out that connect the mid pipe. X pipe, mid pipe to the muffler, and the last thing we did here was, if you have really tiny hands, which helps a lot, rather than trying to rip this hanger off while it's on the car, we got 2 10mm bolts and we got the hanger bracket loose. So those are gone, 2 10mm, 2 10 on the sway bar, cross member, which was 16. And the last thing we're doing now is there's a donut flange right here, and that basically connects the tailpipe. There's a piece of metal that goes through the tailpipe, and once you break it free from where it is right there, I don't know if I'm doing a good job here or not, but it's kind of hard to film underneath the car. Once you break that donut free, it's a 13mm. The pipe ends right where my finger is, so that'll give you enough clearance now to drop this whole muffler out. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we got everything out, but there's just no way for this thing to come out. We've tried everything. We're even thinking about taking the X pipe off, and it's not enough clearance for the hanger or the back of the back box to clear the diffuser here. So I'm gonna just suck it up, and I was trying not to remove the rear bumper, but I'm already halfway there. So we removed the wheel. If you guys remember the last video when I put the diffuser on, you remove the wheel, you remove the wheel liners, you take the tail lights out so that you can get access to the T30 right here, and there's a T15 right on the corner, and it mimics that over here. T30, T15, and then there is an 8mm bolt that is lodged in these areas right here. So watch my other video, you'll get to see how exactly that's done. Then there are two 8mm that go right up in here that connect this corner piece to the fender, and then there's double-sided tape right here, Velcro tape. So once you break that free, this bumper comes off. So once you remove the bumper, you won't have this diffuser part that goes all the way in, which prevents this muffler from breaking free. Even if we pulled the X pipe and pushed it forward, there's a cross member there, the subframe that gets in the way of the flange. I don't think we're going to get much movement off of that. So instead of wasting time on that, I'm just going to suck it up. We're pulling the bumper, which we're pretty much done now. So the bumper's ready to come off. And famous last words. After that, the muffler is off. Let's go. So here's the new back box, here's the old back box. What we ended up doing was we transferred the tailpipe on the donut gasket, as you can see here, to the new one. We transferred the hanger gasket or grommet over there to the new one. So now all we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and reattach it here. So we did a lot of unnecessary things because we were trying to cheat taking the back bumper off, but at the end of the day, we should have just taken the back bumper off. So what we're gonna do is we removed these gasket hangers right here, and they were either 8 or 10mm, two on the bottom, and they will guide in over here. They'll guide in the hangers right here. So that'll give us reference point. We'll put the flange donut gasket and mate it to the mid pipe, and put the flange bolts in, those spring bolts. We'll put those in, and then the back bumper or the back box should be pretty well secured. And then what we'll do next is we'll tighten up the X pipe flange, which is right here. We'll tighten those back up once we can move this around to make sure, because this is what mates to the donut gasket and the flange of the back box. And once that's done, that'll be tight. We'll tighten up the sway bar, and then we'll hang the other last hangers, those two bolts that we popped out, which were up in here. We'll get those mounted up, and then we'll put the bumper back on, and we should be done. So we're gonna go ahead and install these hangers, which you can see right here. It's two 10mm bolts that go through here, and then that's where the first hanger will go through, and that should align us to the flange that is connected to the axle. Just got everything mocked up and tightened up. So what we ended up doing was Here are the hangers, right? So we put the two 10 millimeters bolts loosely in because the hangers will slide laterally. And what you do is you kind of keep them in there, and it can move around so that you get your flanges on the back box to the mid pipe lined up. And then we put, the next thing we did was 14 millimeter on these flange spring bolts, and we put those in there, got them pretty tight, and then we went back and tightened this up. So that's the mid pipe or X pipe to the back box bolts, and I believe those are 14 as well. Or maybe it might be 15, let me check. 15, so those are 15. So once I finished that up, we got that tight now. We know we have the alignment on the flange bolts, tightened those up, and then we went back and tightened the 10 millimeters on the hangers now, because now those are secure in place. And then we went over to the front, or the back of the car I should say, and we went ahead and, let's see if you can even see that, I don't even know. But we went ahead and mounted these hangers. So these were transferred from the other one, and those are 210s as well on both sides. We went ahead and tightened that up, so now the back box is fully secure. Pat's working on the tailpipe. So this was a donut flange that we again transferred from the old to the new. 13 millimeter here. Just get the alignment straight out, and that'll feed right into the bumper. So those are good. And then we took off the sway bar because we were trying to do this without the back box or the bumper being removed. So we just put the sway bar back up. So again, 210s right here. Those go in on both sides. And then I think that's it. So we are almost ready to put the bumper back on and the liner in the wheel. Last thing is, don't forget to put your vacuum lines on. So this T-line right here goes right into the valve. That's what opens it up when you're under load. And then we got to put the cross member back on. So that's 16 millimeters, 4 bolts on that, and we should be good.